Know that currency limits are being removed. It's a great thing. It's a good thing for the game. Currency limits are basically artificial time gating. We don't want to see that. Blizzard has broken their silence. They're trying, guys. Reward limits are being removed. And Blizzard is listening to the feedback. Let's see what Bellular has to say about everything coming here in the following weeks.
All right, it's the end of the week, and that means it's the start of the news. Blizzard have finally revealed the dinars, and, well, that's gone about as well as you probably expected.
Yeah.
And that's as if this patch launch wasn't, already going horribly enough. Blizzard have just went and secured themselves another L with the dinars. Dinars are coming in the middle of the patch as part of something that they're now calling the Season Turbo Boost. There's definitely a joke in here about, throttle lag on a turbo car and time gating, but I'm too stupid to make it. First, though, a quick bit of news from the people keeping the show on the road. These are not the Raycon.
And by the way, the Turbo Boost event actually kind of looks decent. We're going to get higher item levels. Everything's going to be boosted up, and currency limits are going to be removed. So why not? That's a good thing. I'll spin that as a positive. I don't want to sound negative about everything. I played at 1.5 speed.
That you have seen for years. They're in fact new, and they've sponsored this video. These are a full glow up that's genuinely better in every way.
Look at
First,
these.
They've made the design even more comfortable and ergonomic. That really is saying something. The last gen were very sleek and comfy. The in-ear fit as well ensures that these will stay securely in your ear. They're not going to fall out. They are far better per the shake test than most other options I've tried. And they've boosted what was my favorite feature before, and that is the battery life. These now offer up to 32 hours of total time, 8 hours continuously, and the case itself fast charges, which gives you 90 minutes of listening from just 10 minutes of being plugged in, and the case even has got wireless charging, and they've also got loads of stylish case protection options as well. And that's on top of these actually having active noise cancelling, which is something usually only found in much more expensive models. For me, though, the sleeper hit upgrade is actually the multi-point
my first time watching it.
You can now sync these with two devices at once, and they'll automatically switch.
Is that Bellular's house? Actually kind of nice. Looks good. I mean, I shouldn't be reacting to his home, but yeah, it's a nice looking house. Look at that.
Point connectivity. You can now sync these with two devices at once, and they'll automatically switch audio sources depending on what is active, which is perfect for, say, using like your laptop and your phone, but without having to mess around with audio. What they've put together is damn impressive for the price, but they're also offering viewers of this channel exclusive 20% discount site-wide right in time for Mother's Day in the US. Just head to buyraycon.com/Bellular to grab your own pair. The link is down below. It's in the pinned comment, but again, it's buyraycon.com/Bellular.
Guys, how much time do you think I have to fucking pre-watch these damn videos? You think I pre-watch this shit and then react to it like that's a lot of fucking energy. I don't have that much energy. I don't.
20% off site-wide. Dinars, which
shit, you guys give me too much credit.
Cartel chips are arriving May 13th, a week before Horrific Visions. And originally, that's not when you would be getting these, which give you essentially your free raid item. Now, Blizzard's...
And here's the thing, it's kind of late in the game, right, to get these things. People are going to want their biz. Getting the whole thing about getting your best in slot is it'll help you get, your AOTC achievements, help you get through the raid. You become powerful. It's trinkets are a big deal, and that's what these chips are really going to help you buy. And it's kind of late. It's kind of late in the game because I think a lot of people are having AOTC before they even get these damn chips.
Original plan is that you'd only ever be able to earn 6 in a character. However, in line with us getting
biz gear on the last week of the season,
they've actually bumped that limit up to a total of 9. That means that on week 1...
By the way, it's time gated too, so you're going to get your first one right when you turn in the first quest. You'll get 3 of these to purchase your first item, and then the next week you're going to get 1, and then 1, and then 1, and you're going to get another item. So I mean, it's by the time you're done with this, the season's over.
You can get a raid item of your choice. 3 weeks after that, and 3 weeks after that again, you'll be able to get a second and a third.
So 7 weeks in total till you get all the cartel chips and all the items. So, I mean, and it's already late, right? We're getting it late, and then it gets pushed out from there 7 weeks. I mean, you're going to have your best in slot item just in time for it to be useless.
Now, do you remember when we told Blizzard it was a bit of a mistake to put the first item 16 weeks into the patch like they had originally planned by putting these cartel chips on the raid renown? Well, now it's not 16 weeks, it's only 10 weeks. That's a big improvement, but it's still long after many people have finished their goals, so it won't really matter to them. And this reveals something clear. Blizzard thinks of this as a catch-up system for later on in a season, as an eventual bad luck protection if you don't get the trinkets or the special weapon that you...
Yeah, J-Mall, you're right. We're still getting it faster than planned. Originally, they were supposed to be in the... he was just talking about it, inside of the Renown track, and that was going to be even later. I think he was just saying 16 weeks out or something. So it's an improvement. They listened to the feedback, but they didn't act on the feedback. I don't know how to say it. It's like your wife telling you, hey, you need to take out the garbage more often. You know, you're leaving the garbage hanging around too much in the house. So what do you do instead of taking it out to the curb? You take it to your garage and leave it in there. You go about halfway, right? So then your wife opens the garage door. Now the garage stinks. She's like, why didn't you listen to me? You're like, I did. It's not in the house anymore. Yeah. Am I speaking from real life experience? Maybe. But I'm just saying, it's basically a half-baked fix here.
You need. But that's not actually the feature people want. What people really want is a way to earn the reward that they feel they need. Because some of those trinkets are extremely powerful. They can make or break your viability in some extreme cases. Basically, they want to be able to counteract RNG with effort and gameplay via a system like this, not by arbitrarily waiting until Blizzard says, now you can have one. Because even if you do earn them by killing bosses, if it's so heavily time-gated that it basically just feels like Blizzard have unlocked this week's food ration, well, it doesn't really feel like it's something you've earned. It just feels like a chore and one that you've got to wait for the pleasure to do. That's not great. And it's happening in a game that spent years learning that players want agency and meaningful ways to spend their time. It's a bit odd then that Blizzard's raid gearing philosophy is so out of date. And I mean it when I say raid gearing, because it's limited to just raid items. And I think worse yet, you actually need to kill a boss on the matching difficulty to unlock the item. So no Mythic Eye of Kazan until you've already killed Mythic Gallywix. I understand Blizzard's point there.
I don't necessarily hate this. I mean, kill the boss to get the item. All right, that's fine. I don't think if you haven't killed Mythic Gallywix to get the Mythic Gallywix trinket. But then again, it's supposed to be your best in slot item. I'm kind of thinking that out loud here. I mean, I like the cartel chips for what they do. What they're supposed to do is really give you that best in slot item. It's bad luck protection at the end of the day. But if you've never killed the boss, do you deserve the item? Are we giving away too much if we're just letting people literally buy the item and they've never killed the boss before? I don't know. It kind of goes against what the game is supposed to be about in terms of rating.
And see numerous instances where this feels bad, and where a particular class may feel particularly punished by how Blizzard have just
if their trinket drop
table versus someone who gets a better item earlier on in the raid. That does matter for something like Mythic difficulty, but there is a reason behind all of this, and the reason is the problem of all you goddamn Mythic Plus players. Blizzard actually made a post explaining that they wanted to keep Mythic items for Mythic Raiders because otherwise it kind of breaks gear progression between seasons. And to be clear, this is just talking about the Mythic stuff. For the other difficulties, yeah, you can just go get your gear. That's fine. It's just Mythic that they see as the more extreme thing. Now, the good news though, is that even a normal kill on a boss will let you buy the item and upgrade it all the way to eye level 672. So that is really good.
That is a good item.
It's easy to see why Blizzard are focused on raid gear in this scenario. If you really need a signet from Priory and Mythic Plus, you can farm it out. That's something you can do. It might be a horrible experience, chain running a dungeon again and again and again, but you can do it. You have control. But of course, with a massive asterisk. That's assuming you can actually get Priory groups.
I do agree with you, Uncle Jemima, actually. That was the way it was, and that was kind of that was fine. I think if you bought the item, okay, you want to punish people for not killing him on Mythic, that's fine. They buy the item at a lower item level and have to upgrade it further, right? But allow them to upgrade it to Mythic track. So they're just going to need to grind out other things to get the currency. Whereas if they had killed him on Mythic, they can automatically buy it at that really, really high item level and not have to grind out currencies to upgrade it. That was a good system. I don't know why reinvent the wheel. Did anybody dislike the previous chip system? I don't think so. Maybe they're trying too hard here.
Because keys are randomized, it's not like you can just farm it until you have all the stuff that you need. No, you're instead left fishing for groups in the pre-made finder, which is honestly a awful game experience. That's just not particularly fun. In so many other video games, if someone wants to go and grind out a thing that they want, they can just sort of go and do that. The developers are often not afraid that people will play their video game too much. Well, most developers don't have that problem. But with Mythic Dungeons, it's almost worse with how the truly random loot works. That means that your chance of getting, say, the Signet from Priory is absurdly low and hard to target. And on top of that, if you want the best version, you will have zero agency whatsoever, because Myth Track only drops from the Great Vault. That's what people want dinars to fix. They don't want to just log in and get free items. They don't want their gear rations from Blizzard. I mean, look, if they're tasty, people might take the rations happily, but I think mostly people want gearing to work. They want to feel like they can log in and do some virtual work, progressing towards their goal. Not feel.
That's true. You say, Kate, says Dragonflight really was perfect. It really was. I mean, if somebody didn't play Dragonflight, I would say like Season 3, everything was really, really good about it, and Blizzard knows that. I don't feel like they've gotten bad feedback about Season 3 Dragonflight at all. So I don't get why they didn't take that blueprint and turn around and run with it. Now, they have in terms of this season of Mythic Plus, because you look back at Season 3, all the dungeons were pretty damn easy, pretty good paths to run, quick progression. So I think they turned around, they looked at Season 1 of the War Within, way too difficult, absurd. So they turned around, they said, okay, we got to look back at the more successful season, see what it was easier. And gear progression was better, right? The chips were better, everything. It was just a good season all around. Gear progression was good in it. Difficulty was good in it. I don't know why they just don't take that all and re-implement it here. I don't know why they're changing the chips up. Did they think we progressed too quickly in that expansion? I thought Dragonflight had one of the best retention rates of any expansion ever. So you're just giving us the gear proof that and they didn't give us the gear, but just giving us good gear progression, I should say, prove that players are not going to unsub just because they got good gear. So I don't know what Blizzard's taking from that season and not taking.
Feeling artificially throttled by someone in California who is worried that they might play the game too much or they might introduce some form of unfairness. And I'm not saying to get rid of randomness here or some gigantic shift in how gearing works. I think just design a system that lets people farm out the gear that they want, even if it's something like, say, adding a token that only drops from a Mythic plus 10. Then, when you've slowly gathered 10, 15, or even 20 tokens, you can just buy the trinket or the weapon that you really need. That's not a perfect system. Yes, people will probably just spam 10s, but you know what? I think it's closer to what people would actually want to engage with. Blizzard just, I think, can't really seem to see and understand that yet. And it's frustrating that they kept this from us until it was almost live, and that this was not discussed, say, on the PTR forums.
Yeah.
Because now, it's too
You're right, Cadence. Like, they probably don't have time to play the game, really. I mean, the way they're rolling out patches right now and expansions and everything, it's at a breakneck pace. So it's understandable they really don't have much time. But this is the other point right here that Bellular's talking about is, okay, you don't have time necessarily to play the game, test it out, see if this system works well or is good or what the players want. Let the players test it. And they didn't really do that. They just kind of dropped this on us. They didn't put it on the PTR. They didn't really ask about it. They were kind of like, okay, we see you didn't like the way we were going to do it. Here's another way. And without asking us if we were going to like this other way either. So, they should have let this get tested out first.
Late. There's no room for major changes here. This is what it is. There hasn't been testing, dialogue, or much iteration, at least in concert with the player base. Hopefully Blizzard can speed this whole thing up at least, and hopefully this feedback reaches them in time for Season 3. Now, of course, this isn't just NARS. Oh no. It's Season 2 Turbo Boost. So let's see what they mean by turbo. They're calling this event the Season 2 Turbo Boost, and it starts on the 14th of May. That is, of course, when the cartel chips are there, but there's actually more. The crest cap will be lifted entirely, meaning you can just farm out your item level to your heart's content. The Valor Stones also will no longer be an issue because they will be warbound, which is great. You'll be able to
But is there still the cap on Valor Stones? Because I find that to be annoying, because even if you uncap crests, Valor Stones are still going to be needed. So, I mean, you could have infinite crests, but then you're limited by the Valor Stones you have because it's still 2k capped. And even worse now, because it's Warband bound, you're going to hit that cap more quickly. Mythic plus drop rates of Warband. I think Valor Stones are still capped. So this is still kind of capped in a way.
Valor Stones from your main to your alts that you just want to get blasted up with gear. That's pretty strong. And if you're already very, very strong, you'll be able to get even stronger. They're actually adding 2 more steps to both the hero and myth tracks. Basically, that's adding 6 item levels to the game, which will be a fairly major power boost
Yeah,
for
that's a
any
good
gear or
boost.
myth gear that you may have, assuming you've got the crests to upgrade. And crafted gear is not left behind either. They're adding an augmentation matrix, which will add 6 item levels to gear crafted with sparks, though
Ridiculous.
of course that will mean you'll have to recraft. Delves are also getting a boost. We'll get extra crests, Valor Stones, Bran XP, and Delver's Journey progress. So basically buffs, boosts across the board.
Right.
Everywhere else in the game, there's going to be a doubled chance of getting bonus Warbound gear drops. And of course, this is coming
They're gearing us out
for Horrific Visions, which of course will also bring in the head-in chance, and that's just going to mean even faster gear and upgrade materials. And this is clearly a part of their whole goal here, to get 2 major waves of engagement out of the same season, right? To have, season launch is a big thing, and then a big speed boost that ideally will feel fantastic for people's alts. And you know what? In one sense, absolutely fair enough. I get it. I think in a way it is a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Though it does leave out an entire group of players, as an example, people like my guild who play the season, accomplish goals within a month or 2, and then dip out for a little bit. For people like us, this patch has been a little bit of a disappointment. And
yeah, certainly. I mean, it is a way to keep people engaged, right? Like he said, and I'm sure the way Bellular's groups does it is the way a lot of people do it. They'll get AOTC early. They'll try to gear out real quick, and then they'll kind of log off for the rest of the season. So this is going to keep people, they're trying to keep people engaged, right? They're telling people, okay, you're going to log out. Well, fall behind on your gear progression because a lot of people are going to be like 6 upgrades ahead of you now. So it is a way to keep people engaged. 6 item levels, I should say, ahead of you. So it's whatever. It's a gearing out, extra gearing out. Why not?
I definitely am thinking to myself, if we do a turbo boost halfway through every season, does that tell people
Does that tell people not to play the early part of the season? Maybe.
Putting in effort in day 1 won't really be worth it?
Maybe.
There's a little bit where, it's almost like, is this Blizzard printing money? Will it cause hyperinflation and people to, not respect item levels? Would it maybe degrade how rewarding things feel?
I don't know anything
over
about
time?
Canada.
I'm a little concerned about that, but clearly they would rather have the engagement now, and I can see 2 very positive angles here. Positive angle number 1, look, Season 3. I think they're obviously testing some ideas for Season 3.
Yeah.
About the Warbound Valor Stones, maybe uncapped crests, stuff like that. I think that's very positive. Also, maybe, if they get positive results from this, they could think, hang on, is it actually the case that a player who on week 3 is, say, Captain Carved Crests or Ruined Crests, and is doing lots of content, but just getting no reward for that content, is that a bad experience? Should we, in general, lighten up in crests? So,
hold on, Cadence, you'll like the next one.
Experiment and a great opportunity to play odds. 11.15 is out, which means, of course, it's time to talk about the next patch, 11.17. Obviously, 11.15 patch day went fairly horribly. We have a whole video on that if you want all those details. But it seems to have genuinely caused some issues for Blizzard, because we did fully expect a PTR to be up by now for the next patch. Blizzard basically updated the catalog. They were doing things on their end, basically getting it ready, but it seems they did not push the build. I have to wonder with all the hot fixes and changes in the interface.
Wow, you're telling me Blizzard decided to hold back for a minute, make sure everything's pretty good before they start dropping things? Yeah, that's a good thing. It's a
live game.
I'd rather them hold back than give us broken things, because it kind of kills the hype when things enter the game broken. So yeah, it's all right. Make sure the PTR is ready to go, then launch that. Then make sure everything's been tested properly, then launch the real thing. I'm fine with that.
They just, need the weekend to fix World of Warcraft before they can, get onto the PTR. What that does mean, though, is almost certainly next week, we will learn everything we need to know about patch 11.1.7, and hopefully that will mean some good surprises. One part of testing was not delayed, though, and that is Mists of Pandaria Beta. If you got access, you can go and check out how one of WoW's all-time best expansions feel. Pretty awesome. And there's not a huge amount of news here, except to say that it's got some bugs that will need to be worked out, and Blizzard have now turned on the level 85 boost in Cataclysm Classic. That means it cannot be long before we get an actual release date for this. So if you want to genuinely experience one of WoW's true peaks, well, get preparing. I really do think it's worth it. Mop was awesome. All right, time for this week's event. So this weekend, you've got Legion Time Walking if you want levels or you want some raid gear, and as well the last few days of Noble Garden if you want some fairly gorgeous looking spring-themed cosmetic things. Next week, then, it's going to be the Battleground bonus event, so not a whole lot worth talking about there. PvP is withering in the vine. Now, we'll also be getting another half spark, so that does mean that no new crafting item will be available next week. We're still all at 5 sparks in total, and as of next week, we'll also be on our 5th charge of the catalyst. That means if you've got any big upgrades that you need to turn into gear, next reset will be your chance. Other than that, there's not much else to report. Of course, we did just have a patch launch, so that's a thing, even if it was, a little bit disappointing to say the least. What it does mean, though, is the big new events there, it's probably time to focus a bit on leveling, or maybe doing some of your old faithful things. I'd say perhaps level up some alts. Level it up now so you can make use of the turbo boost whenever that drops, and then...
Yeah, so, I mean, Blizzard's trying. At least we know that. They're trying. Is it a good effort? I don't know, but we know that they're trying to listen to feedback, trying to get things right. Eventually, they probably will get it right, and all hail Dragonflight Season 3, right? That was a good one. We'll see what happens next. Good video from Bellular.